In the last videos, we covered conjugation in the present, so we're almost done with the present tense already. To finish up this topic, let's learn about the order the words go in. First of all, I have good news for you. For once, you will have it easier in German than in English. Because while English has two different present tenses that work like this, German only has one. So by the end of this video, you will have learned the equivalent of two English tenses already. Let's begin with the spelling rule. Not only is the beginning of sentences in German capitalized, like in English, but nouns are capitalized too. All of them, all of the time. This is a solid rule that doesn't get broken. Now, the general word order of a German sentence is the same as you are used to from English. She drinks water is sie trinkt Wasser. He goes to school is geht zur Schule. The flower is pretty is die Blume ist schön. The store is closed is der Laden ist geschlossen. However, not all sentences are this simple. See this example. Here translating word for word works, but if we change it to this, it doesn't. Likewise, with this sentence it works, but here it doesn't. So what is happening here? Let's try to understand what is changing. The sentences are very similar after all. Well, in both cases there's an extra verb present. Here it is want, and here it is can. And that is exactly what causes the difference. In English, two verbs go right after one another in a sentence. But in German, the second verb goes at the end of the sentence. Let's see if we understood that. How would we translate this sentence? If you're not that good at conjugation yet, don't worry. Just put the infinitive of the verb in the right position. Very simple. It's just a word-for-word translation. And how would we do it if it changes to this sentence? We translate word for word, but put the second verb at the end of the sentence. Now there are also questions, which is a different type of sentence. Questions in German are not that difficult. We just learned that the word order works like this. Sie lernt Deutsch. So we have a subject, then a verb, and then an object. So how do we turn this into a question? Simple. We just switch the verb and the subject of the sentence. Lernt sie Deutsch? It doesn't exactly work like that in English. English always uses an extra verb in questions and puts that at the front of the sentence instead, either to be or to do. Like in the translation of the sentence from before, is she learning German? Or in the sentence, do you hear that? If English followed the same rules as German, it would be, hear you that? Which sounds very wrong, because it is, but in German this is exactly how it works. Hörst du das? But what about those sentences we just learned about, that put the verbs at the end? They work just the same. Switch the verb and the subject, and if there's a second verb, leave it at the end like before. Sie sollte Deutsch lernen turns into sollte sie Deutsch lernen? And what if we want to use question words? Like what, why, how, and so on. This simply works the exact same way as it does in English. Just put the word at the beginning of the sentence and structure the rest of the sentence according to the rules we just discussed. What are you doing becomes was tust du? Although a more natural sounding translation would be was machst du? Of course, sentences are often much longer than the examples we've discussed today. And the longer the sentence gets, the more complex the rules become. But this will give you a good foundation to actually start producing German sentences. If you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching and subscribe to learn German.